fast, and here's what's going on. Is I'm trying to show a little bit about communication from the body language of a horse that I've learned, and I'm not an expert on the subject, but I've studied it more than most people. So let's pretend this is a horse's backbone, this lunge whip. This is a horse's ears. This is the tail. So what's going to happen is, as the horse goes around the round pen, she's going to bow her backbone like this and point her rib cage at me and her head away from me and her tail away from me a little bit. And she's going to have her head up and her inside ear pointing straight at me. And hopefully we'll show that on some of this. And what will happen is, hopefully I can send her around in circles a few times. And without killing that poor cat. And what will happen is, she's already done it twice, like between the train and whatever, but she'll start licking and chewing, she'll drop her head, and she'll come over here and she'll touch me. Like, that's what I'm looking for, right? So of course it happens while I'm talking, and I don't know, maybe you can see the horse behind me, but both sides of the horse, left and right, is going to communicate this. So if I can get her to go this direction, around the round pin, you'll see the bow in her backbone, her head's raised up, her ears pointing at me. Now her head's dropping, she's licking and chewing. I stopped. That was fantastic. Like, Monty Roberts calls that a join up. Ray Hunt called it a hooking on, or I don't know. Yeah, all these horse whisperers have different language. But what I'm saying is, you can get in the round pen with just about any horse and start communicating like this. I don't know exactly what we're saying to each other, but what I'm trying to say to this horse is, hey, I care about your language, I care about you, I'd like to be, have a partnership of some kind. And hopefully what the horse is going to start saying to me is, I'd like to see you as something besides the person that throws the hay over the fence. And in today's world, we don't have a lot of real reason to spend tons and tons of time with our horses. So if we could make our relationship a little bit better, it'll be safer for everybody. And my interest in helping this horse accept a saddle, bridle, and rider is because a friend of mine asked me to help him and said they would give me some hay in trade, right? So it's not like my life depends on it, but I also happen to really enjoy communicating with horses, and it seems to have helped me let parts of myself change. Parts that I didn't like, I could let change. Parts that I did like, I could nurture to become more vibrant and successful. So I'm going to send this horse. This is the left side of the horse, right? Left horse. Same thing, heads up, ears pointing at me, licking and chewing. If I'll relax and take the pressure off and invite that horse to me, she didn't come all the way over to me, but she stopped running around. And what that says to me, the first time I sent her like this, when the train was coming and we shut the camera off, how many loops did she run? 10, 12, 15, like she just kept running, right? Well, she didn't think I knew any of her language. She wasn't listening to anything that I would have to say. And so after I've done this a couple times, now it appears to me that she is saying, what do I got to do to get you to quit chasing me around? Are we communicating? What's going on here? So I guess what I'm saying is, this is the beginning of us, establishing a line of communication where she'll know what I'm expecting of her, and she can let me know whether she's happy about what's going on or not, and she'll let me know what she wants to do, if she's comfortable with what I'm trying to get her to do, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to do is, over a series of days, is I'm going to hopefully take this communication that I'm talking to you about and start putting it in to a useful set of tools where I can actually communicate from her back, you know, in the saddle, and get her to go when I want her to go, and stop when I want her to stop, and go right when I want her to go right, and left when I want her to go left. And you do that fancy enough, then people call that broke. You see her almost bite at me? So one of the games horses play with each other often is who can move whose feet. And that's what she was playing with me right there. This horse, in my opinion, I would say this horse is pretty high on the totem pole. If I turned her out here with my other horses, she would probably whoop up on the ones that are lower on the totem pole and probably fight with the ones that are higher on the totem pole for a spot of leadership. She is a colt, so she would probably lose the fight to one of the bigger geldings a time or two. Which is probably a whole nother video. I don't even know how to expand on that. But what I'm trying to do is get her to let me touch her all over without moving her feet, and let me be the director of where her feet go. And so what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, come over here, bring your feet to me, let me touch you all over, either with this stick or my hand. There's no reason to, now I've already created a situation where she thinks this stick means run, right? Pat Pirelli, the person that, you know, developed a real awesome homeschool system to learn what I'm talking about, calls this a carrot stick, not because it's orange, but because it's somewhere in between a carrot and a stick. And what I'm saying is, like, right now, this horse only sees this as a stick, because as soon as I point it at her or touch her with it, she takes off running. And what I would rather have happen is that she would see it as either a carrot or a stick, depending on what I'm doing with it, depending on the look on my face, depending on my body language, my posture, my intensity. That's how I'm going to communicate with this horse, hopefully. So somehow I got to get her to change her opinion about this stick a little bit so that it's not just something to run from, that it's an actual communication tool. And so I want to get, instead of running away from it, maybe you can move towards it. So I'll put a little bit of pressure on her, and I'll keep a little bit of pressure until she moves the direction I want her to move, and then I take the pressure off. And you can tell when a horse is starting to understand something. The next time it takes less pressure. The next time it takes less pressure. The next time it takes less pressure. Until pretty soon, hardly any pressure at all. You can get them to move their feet in a direction you want them to move. Which, I'd say that little bit I was talking right there made quite a nice difference, right? Instead of her running from this stick every time I touched her with it, she was now being led pretty much by this stick with this little string. And I don't know how halter broke she was before, but for me, it's better the less another person has messed with a horse, the better it is for me, because I don't have to try to erase and reestablish communications, you know, with somebody that was speaking a different language, or somebody that maybe didn't even understand that a horse can communicate.
Alright, let's
So-
stop for a sec.